welcome back to a brand new episode of PHT TV. I know it's been a while, guys, but we are still here and we're not going anywhere. We were just kind of trying to figure out what direction we wanted to take the channel. We used to pop out a new episode every week, but I think we're going to slow things down a bit. Going to switch to a more as-needed style. Could be one episode per month, could be two in a day, we'll see. We'll come out with new episodes as Paducah Home Theater gets into new brands and new products, and as existing brands release new products. Today, we're going to dive into one of the latest brands PHT has added to the lineup, Advanced Paris. I plan to get some products into the studio and have an in-depth overview of specs and sound with you guys in the near future, but before we do that, I wanted to learn as much as possible about what Advanced Paris is all about. To do this, Cory and I have a very special guest joining us for a Zoom call. Today, we're going to meet with Rob Standley of Playback Distribution. Rob has been in the industry for many years and has a wealth of knowledge on these products, as well as products that would be great to pair with them. So without further delay, let's go ahead and add Cory and Rob into the call and see what Advanced Paris is all about. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. What can you tell me just as a basic introduction to Advanced Paris and to Playback Distribution, if you want to go into that as well?
Oh, sure. Advanced Paris is a line of products that we think just has really great value. You know, they have a look that's very unique. Most of the products have big, bright blue VU meters that really draw you in right away. And as you get around back of the products and look at the feature set that is on these products, they're commendable for sure. They're a very deluxe feature set on the back for the price point of the products. Really not really seen anything like that out in the marketplace right now. For example, their most popular products, the integrated products, have HDMI ARC, high resolution DAC, great Class A/B amplifiers on board with switchable bias, as well as a tube pre, these beautiful little glowing tubes from the front in addition to those big VU meters. So the combination really of value in terms of the features that you're getting, the look you're getting, and then of course, when you turn it on and listen to it, the product sounds great. And we've just not seen anything like it in the marketplace really that lights up all those check boxes, that looks like Advanced Paris does, it sounds like Advanced Paris does, and it has the features that Advanced Paris has. As far as the brand itself, Advanced Paris was Advanced Acoustic until a few years ago, and they've been in the market for more than a couple of decades underneath that brand. And they put a considerable investment into the Advanced Paris lineup recently with a lot of new innovations for their latest products, and they did a rebranding to coincide with that. So I think that's one of the reasons they're really getting a lot of attention is the recent investments they've made in their product catalog are significant.
What's your favorite product in the lineup so far? Put you on the spot there.
Yeah, no, that's a tough question because they've got a lot of great products, but probably the A12 integrated is probably my personal favorite. It's 190 watts by 2 Class A/B, and it has dual mono construction. Two different toroidal transformers in that box, as well as having a gorgeous look up front and a really robust jack back, including a really nice phono section, as well as great headphone outputs. In fact, dual outputs that can be optimized to two different sets of cans. So I just think that one brings a ton of performance and value, and you can pretty much mate it up to any speaker you want, and it's got plenty of juice.
Nice. Now, we talked a little bit, you said they rebranded a little bit ago. Did you have kind of a history on Advanced Paris and where they come from or the roots?
Well, Advanced Paris as Advanced Acoustic is a company that's about 25 years old. And they've always been a French company designing products in France and then making the products, in Asia. But a lot of their roots really came from speaker development, and they got into the electronics development shortly thereafter. And that's really where the bulk of the innovation and so forth has come lately, is in the electronic side.
Gotcha. So when we see Advanced Paris and you look up Advanced Paris, it's showing 2 years old, but it goes way back deeper than that. This isn't a brand new company. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they've been around for, like I said, more than a couple of decades. in the marketplace. Just really wanted to refresh and their image and also, put a pin in where they're from, right? As Advanced Paris, because Advanced Acoustic could be, from anywhere. So there's a lot of pride happening with that company developing products in France.
That's awesome. Talking about history, let's dive. What is the roadmap for the future? Where are we going from here with Advanced Paris?
They keep things a little bit tight to the vest, but they have shared a couple things with me that I'm not privy to go public with.
Okay.
But I will say that they're investing in their product roadmap in a pretty big way, and some of what comes out next will lean into the French pride that I spoke of earlier.
Okay. So nothing public, but good things to come.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Now you touched on price structure a little bit. Did you want to touch on that at all anymore, as far as the lineup goes and where everything sits?
I think from a price value standpoint, some of the standouts in the line would be the A10 integrated at 24.99. That product with again HDMI ARC, tube pre, Class AB amplification, as well as a high res DAC and a lot of inputs on the back as subwoofer output, etc. Really delivers a ton of value. The other couple that really kind of stick out from a price value standpoint are the XP700 preamplifier with the 160 Evo amplifier. Each one of those components is $19.99, so under the 2 grand price point, and they really deliver a first class, hi-fi experience between the two of them. Again, high res DAC, balanced ins and outs on the preamp, and you go into going into balanced ins on the amplifier, and great performance, great looks, and easy to operate.
How big is this company? Like, I mean, is it, Paris Allen operated for years with less than 10 employees. Is that what we're dealing with? Or is it big, or is it just two dudes? Or like, I have no idea.
It's a lot more than two dudes. The actual employees that work for Advanced Paris is in excess of 15, and they have some development, folks that work for them from other third-party companies that help with some of the products as well. So that really extends the engineering capability in the team itself.
The biggest thing that people are interested in is those dancing VU meters from an engineering or technical standpoint. Is there anything you can elaborate on?
I don't know that the VU meters themselves are a particularly technological achievement. They're designed to
Right,
give you
but
some
that's
feedback, of course,
that's
right?
what everybody asks about, and I'm just like, I don't. They're cool, but I don't know what to tell them about.
Yeah, I mean, VU meters are meant to give you feedback on what the power draw is and what the amplifier is doing. But for the most part, I think people enjoy them because they're fun. They give some live action to the listening experience visually, and it's the thing that really first attracts people to the line. They see that energy when they look at the product and they want to know more. And then as they start to lean in and learn more about what the product is, the kind of features and value it brings, and then ultimately what it sounds like, they're hooked.
The other question I keep getting is the tube preamp stage. So like it's very interesting because the tubes, it seems to smooth things out, but it doesn't go all the way and make the mid-range super thick like a lot of your cheaper tube amps. So can you elaborate on that at all? I mean, what exactly did they do to make that so smooth sounding?
Yeah, tubes are maybe a little bit of a contentious topic, right? And oftentimes, when you listen to people who like tubes talk about it, they favor a preamp with tubes and an amplifier without. And that combination gives you, a little bit of sweetness or richness, particularly at the top of the frequency range, without compromising maybe the grip or the overall ability to crank it, if you will, on the volume output. So, while I'm not here to talk about a symposium in tube amps, the reality is that when you use a hybrid approach, you can get a little bit of the goodness, but not give up the advantages that you have with the Class AB amplifier. So yeah, it's got to be well designed. It's got to be something that requires some listening as well as some testing and tweaking in order to get right. But I agree with you. I think that Advanced Paris has really struck a nice, healthy balance with their hybrid products. In fact, their little WTX stream tubes, which is a little streamer with a set of tubes in it. If you're using the analog outs, the tubes are engaged. If you're using the digital outs, they're not engaged. And it's an easy way to sort of A/B or check out, what their approach with the tubes is doing to the signal. To my ears, what I found is that with the tubes engaged, a lot of the popular music that might be a little bit compressed, designed for radio airplay, when you play it back, it becomes a whole lot more listenable. And, if you're just throwing a lot of music at a system and listening to what your favorites are, and you're not so worried about how it was recorded, it can make a more enjoyable experience just from cut to cut.
A lot of the tube amps you see too, the tubes are exposed, and like having kids and animals and everything like that, you're worried about breakage and everything. So I like that they're visible, but kind of tucked away a little bit to give you that better, more protected.
Right. And they're smaller tubes. So, the heat output on something like that's pretty minimal. A lot of times you do see those exposed tubes on full-on tube amplifiers because they really need the air around them to cool. So speaking of, one of the nice things about the Advanced Paris lineup, and a lot of this probably has to do with the fact that they come from Europe and there's a lot of energy consciousness going on in Europe. But the reality is you can turn the high bias off on the back of the units that offer the Class AB design. And the reason you might want to do that is if you do have it in an area where you've got a tight cabinet or you're worried about, the heat it's going to output on a hot summer day, you can get around back and flip the high bias off and use it that way too. And then if you're in a situation where you want to do more critical listening, you can flip it right back on. So that switchable high bias is kind of a unique approach that they have as well.
Are you going to be carrying their full lineup? Like, is everything on their site, or are we going to bring that here, or is it going to be a limited amount?
We'll dance to the way the music is played in terms of what the consumer demand is with the line. There are some significant investments that happen in the market to be able to certify products to come into the United States, and so there's got to be a base of business or demand behind that. One of the things that we've seen with other products is that the actual form factor themselves, the smaller footprint product, the less than component width product or small chassis, there's been more limited demand for that kind of product. So it's unlikely at this point that we would bring the smaller chassis product in, but we're certainly expanding the lineup in the full chassis, and you could expect us to add a CD player as an example and more separate SKUs as we go.
Have you played with the streamers much?
Yeah, I've spent some time with the WTX Stream Tubes product that I alluded to. It's a link play integration, so it performs as you would think, a standard link play implementation would. It's very stable, it's easy to use, it plays well with others.
The other thing that I had is we're showing, I think it was it March 29th, I think it said on the website, that we're expected to see the A10 come back into stock on the website anyways. I'm not sure how long it would take to get to the US. How soon could we see these start shipping out to customers?
Yeah, the A12 is actually due mid-month, and the A10 is due at the end of the month to our warehouse. I'm a little more confident in the A12 date because those products have actually landed in France. The A10s haven't just yet, but they seem to be on schedule, so that's what we're expecting at this point. There has been a really big international demand for their integrated products as well as some of their other models, and that's put them in a little bit of a back order situation for the past few months. But we're just looking forward to the point when we have, more stock to get these into customers' hands and some new folks. We'll be showing the A12 at Expona. It's a good opportunity for those people that are going to be going to that event. We'll be on the 14th floor with it, and people can get their ears and eyes on one.
Cory, for those that are watching this and want to pick one up, are you taking pre-orders?
Yeah, we've been taking pre-orders for the last few weeks. We had a small batch at first. We just got 4 A10s just yesterday, but yeah, we've already got a list of about 7 people waiting on an A10. So, but yeah, hopefully when this next batch comes in here in a couple of weeks, we'll be caught up, and we plan to stock everything ourselves. Should be instant shipping. So.
Okay. So once they're in stock, we'll be able to get it to you guys overnight. That'd be great. Or not overnight, but that's a stretch, but very quickly,
right.
very rapidly.
Well, if you live down the street from Cory's warehouse overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll drive it on over to you. Is that the A10 behind you?
Yes, we were about to swap that out for the A12 just to get our hands on it. But yeah, we use this every day at our guitar shop. So we don't crank it, but yeah, it's background music pretty much all day, every day. So we have a streaming setup where everything's linked in the shop, so you can go from room to room. It's pretty neat. We play. We've got a big 75-inch TV. We play concerts all day, so no matter where you go, you can, in the shop, you can hear the concerts. So yeah, it's a pretty neat setup. We've got the 4 malls over there, so I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but yeah, in case you were wondering, yeah, we did start a guitar shop. So this is like the platinum room. So that's the top row. That's Sir. Everything else is Charvel. So pretty cool stuff. Charvel's making a comeback, but yeah, John Sir was the Fender master builder, in charge of all the custom builds back in the 90s, but he didn't have full control of the process. So he just kind of made his own company. Those are kind of like super Fenders, if you want to think about that. They start at about 3,300 and just go up from there. So super high end stuff. So yeah, it's neat being able to get people in the door looking at that stuff. But then the V meters on the A10, that catches their eye quite a bit. So
this isn't just Cory's living room. That's not his collection. He has a guitar shop as well. Did you guys have any final thoughts? Anything else to say on Advanced Paris?
I think from my perspective, we're really excited. The demand for this product, I think, took us by surprise a little bit. I mean, you trust your instincts in this business to a degree. You see a product and you go, wow, that's pretty cool. Some other people are probably going to like it too. But the more people that we get in front of these products and then get their ears on them, the more validation that this is going to be a product range that you're going to see more and more of as time goes on here.
With everything going on in the economy, at least my guys, it's few and far between to sell a super high end amp, but to pack this much value into something that the average guy can't afford, that I think that's what's made it so popular. So you just in that, the $2,500 for the A10, that's just right at the sweet spot of budgetary concerns. So yeah, they want to stretch the budget and get something nice, but they don't want to spend 10 grand for the green company. So so yeah, a lot of my guys like the value proposition of those.
All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us, Rob.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I am excited to get one of these in hand and possibly try it out and see we get a full-on spec overview and everything go on for you guys. But this is a quick teaser on Advanced Paris. Expect to see more soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you again soon for another episode of PHT TV.
I think you need a bigger water bottle.
No, this yeah,
Oh goodness, looks like
it
a
just kept
Coleman
growing
lantern.
as time went, and I just couldn't get enough.
That's
There's
awesome.
a new company, I forget what the name of it is, but they made this water bottle that was made out of solid steel, and it's 25 pounds.
Jeez.
Just the bottle itself. So
Wow.
I guess they're targeting bodybuilders. They think that you're gonna,
Get
gain
extra
muscle
curls.
by pulling it up.
Like, why is my right arm so much stronger than my left arm? I've been lifting this bottle all day.
It's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.